My friends, there are seasons in life when silence is the only answer we receive from heaven. We cry, we pray, we wait, but still the days pass quietly, and love, that deepest longing of the human heart, does not come. And in that silence we begin to ask ourselves difficult questions. Have I been forgotten? Am I not worthy? Has God withheld from me what seems to flow so freely to others? But I stand before you today to say this: God's delay is not God's absence. It is not neglect, nor is it rejection. For those he has set apart, those he calls his own, there is often a holy delay, a sacred pause before love arrives. And this delay, though painful, is not wasted time. It is in truth preparation. It is a deep work being done not in public, but in the soul. The kind of love that God intends for his chosen ones is not rushed into the world. It is not thrown together in haste. It is shaped with intention. It is built on the strength of character, not on the whims of emotion. In the quiet seasons when love seems distant, God is not idle. He is refining us. He is removing what is weak, so what is strong can stand. He is teaching us to walk without crutches, so that when we do walk beside someone, we do not lean. We stand together. He is showing us how to love ourselves, not in vanity, but in sacred acceptance. So we do not enter love as beggars, but as equals, whole and ready. We must understand, true love is not a remedy for emptiness. It is a celebration of fullness, and so God waits. He waits until the soul is no longer desperate, until the longing is not for someone to fill a gap, but to walk a shared path. And when that time comes, love does not arrive like a storm. It arrives like morning light, quiet, sure, undeniable. The world will not understand this waiting. It will push you to believe that something is wrong with you, that you are missing out, that you are late. But the world does not understand the timing of heaven. What is delayed on earth may already be written in eternity. And if we can hold on, just hold on, we will come to see that the delay was not punishment, but preparation for something far deeper than we could imagine. There is a weight to being chosen. It is not an easy path. To be set apart means to be shaped in ways others may never see. And often, it means to walk alone for a time, so that when you do walk with another, you do so with clarity, with purpose, and with truth. This is not a burden, it is a calling. And yes, during this waiting, the heart may ache, the nights may feel long, the questions may come uninvited and stay too long, but do not let these shadows define you. They are part of the journey, but they are not the end of it. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared, and so do not curse the delay. Do not despise the silence, for in that silence something sacred is growing. Something strong, something unshakable. You are not waiting for love to save you. You are waiting for the right moment to offer love from a place of strength. This is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is power wrapped in patience. And one day when love finally arrives, not as fantasy, but as real, tested, steady love, you will look back and know, I was never abandoned. I was being prepared for something worth waiting for. And so, I say to you, stand firm in the silence. Walk with dignity in the waiting, and do not fear the delay. It is not a detour, it is the path. We must come to see love not as something to chase, but something to carry. For those who are chosen, love is not a mere feeling, it is a calling. It is not the fire that burns briefly to warm the skin. It is the sun that rises to light a path. It is not only for comfort, but for purpose. And that is why, for some of us, love does not come quickly. Because God does not give purpose before we are ready to hold it. The world has taught us to treat love like a prize, something to be won, something to display, something to prove that we are desirable. And in that rush, people forget the weight of what love truly is. They mistake companionship for calling, attraction for alignment. But those who are called, those who carry something sacred inside them, cannot afford that confusion. For them, love must not be a distraction. It must be direction. I have seen it often. Bright souls, rich in depth and spirit, who walk alone while others walk in pairs, not because they are less, but because they are more, because their path is narrower, their light stronger, and their future too significant to be tangled in the wrong hands. These are the ones for whom God delays love, not to wound them, but to protect what is precious. When you are chosen, you cannot love like the world loves. You cannot rush. You cannot settle. You cannot give your heart to someone who does not understand what you carry, because the kind of love you are called to will not just hold your hand, it will walk with your soul. It will not only mirror your dreams, it will multiply them. It will not silence your purpose. It will speak life into it. But to reach that kind of love, you must first understand who you are without it. You must stand strong enough in your calling that love becomes a companion, not a crutch. You must see that you were not made to be completed. You were made to be supported, to be celebrated, to be challenged into greater growth. And when you grasp this truth, you stop asking asterisk, when will love find me, asterisk, and you start asking asterisk, who must I become before it does? Asterisk, the delay, then, is not punishment. It is refinement. It is God shaping your ability to discern, to lead, to protect the sacred. Because chosen ones cannot afford love that distracts. They need love that anchors, that listens deeply, speaks honestly, and walks faithfully. Anything less would be a detour. And yes, in the quiet seasons, the loneliness can whisper doubts into the soul. It can tempt you to believe that you are too hard to love, too different, too much. But I say to you, do not let those lies root themselves in your spirit. You are not too much. You are enough. In fact, you are more than enough. That is why the ordinary cannot contain you. When you begin to see love as a calling, everything shifts. You no longer chase people. You chase purpose. And as you walk boldly in that purpose, you become magnetic to the kind of love that is meant for you. The love that sees you, not just your face or your figure, but your fire. The love that does not shrink when you shine, but grows brighter beside you. The love that understands that silence is not distance, and that presence is not just physical, but spiritual. This kind of love takes time. It is not cheap. It is not quick. It is not fragile. It is built slowly with courage, with truth, and with grace. And because of this, it is often delayed, for your sake, not to break you, but to build you. Do not envy those who find love early if their love does not last. Do not rush to grasp what you are not yet ready to hold, for when love is part of your calling, it will arrive on time. Heaven's time, not yours. And it will not just come to change your relationship status. It will come to change your life. So let us walk with our heads high, even in seasons of waiting. Let us live fully, knowing that love, real love, is not something we lose by delay. It is something we become ready for, and when it arrives, it will not just answer our longing. It will honor our journey. It will make the wait worth it. There are moments when the silence becomes too loud, when the waiting becomes too heavy, and when our hearts begin to whisper what our mouths dare not say. Asterisk, maybe this is never going to happen. Maybe I am not enough. Maybe I am alone. Asterisk, these feelings come quietly, but they come powerfully. They settle in the corners of our minds and begin to convince us that God's delay is a form of neglect, that our value is measured by what we have not yet received. But we must learn to see these emotions for what they truly are, not enemies, not truths, but shadows. Shadows that stretch long when the light behind us is strong. Shadows that move with us, but cannot hold us. Negative feelings, my friends, are not proof that we are broken. They are part of being human. They are evidence that we still long, that we still feel, that we still care. And yet, they are not meant to rule us. Too often, we allow sadness to wear the mask of truth. We let fear sit on the throne of our decisions. We let bitterness narrate the story of our lives. But those emotions, while real, are not final. They are part of the landscape, not the whole journey. And when we are chosen, we must learn to walk through these feelings without letting them lead us off course. Let me speak plainly. Loneliness is not weakness. It is not a flaw in your design. It is the space where strength is born. When you sit in silence with yourself and still choose to stand again the next day, that is power. When you feel forgotten and still choose to bless others with kindness, that is grace. When your heart is heavy but you lift your head and walk forward, that is courage. We must begin to understand that emotions are messengers, not masters. They arrive to tell us something, but they do not define who we are. And for the chosen ones, learning to master the inner life is one of the greatest works of preparation. Because if we do not learn how to carry ourselves in the darkness, we will not know how to share light when the sun returns. You may be walking through a season of confusion. You may feel like hope is something reserved for others. You may look in the mirror and see someone tired, someone unsure. But I urge you, do not make a home in those thoughts. A passing storm does not mean the sky is broken. The night is not evidence that the sun will never rise. It simply means you are in process. There is no shame in feeling low, but there is danger in letting the low place become your identity. You were not made for despair. You were not created for bitterness. Those are foreign voices in your soul, and the more you feed them, the louder they speak. But the truth is still there, quiet, steady, waiting to be believed again. The truth is that you are still chosen, still seen, still being prepared, and even in your doubt, God is not distant. He is patient. He waits with you. He listens without rushing. He strengthens without shouting. And in time, if you keep walking, if you keep breathing, if you keep believing even a little, that strength will rise again inside you. We must also learn to talk back to the darkness. When the voice of fear tells you it's too late, you must answer with hope. When loneliness says no one sees you, you must respond with faith. Asterisk, even if I am alone, I am not forgotten. Asterisk, when bitterness says love is a lie, you must declare. Asterisk, love delayed is not love denied. Asterisk, it is not always easy. There are days when you will not feel strong. That is why we must build a life that is not led by feelings, but by purpose. Purpose does not change when moods shift. Purpose remains, and when you hold to it, when you anchor yourself in it, you can ride the waves of emotion without being swept away. This is the journey of the chosen, not to avoid the negative, but to overcome it. Not to pretend the shadows don't come, but to keep walking even when they do. Because each time you choose to hope when it would be easier to despair, each time you rise when it would be easier to quit, you are becoming more of who you were born to be. And that, my friends, is what makes the waiting holy. That is what gives it power, not what you get at the end, but who you become along the way. You are stronger than the shadow. We speak often of overcoming as though it is something that happens in a single moment. A decision, a turning point, a victory. But for those who are called, for those chosen by a higher purpose, overcoming is not a moment. It is a journey. It is the slow, steady becoming of a person who no longer bows to what once broke them. To overcome is not to erase pain or silence struggle. It is not pretending that fear never knocked or that doubt never visited. It is not smiling to cover the ache. No, to overcome is something far more powerful. It is to feel the full weight of disappointment and still choose to rise. It is to face delay and not grow bitter. It is to look at the emptiness of today and still believe in the possibility of tomorrow. We often imagine strength as something loud, shouting in triumph, declaring certainty, but the truest strength I have ever seen is quiet. It is someone waking up each morning with an unanswered prayer and still choosing to live with purpose. It is someone walking alone and still making space for joy. That is what becoming looks like. Not perfection, not arrival, but transformation. You see, when God delays love for His chosen ones, He is not just preserving something precious. He is forming someone strong. And the strength He builds in you is not the kind that comes from being untouched by sorrow. It is the kind that grows through it, the kind that learns to bend without breaking, to wait without despairing, and to believe without proof. In the lonely seasons, we often ask, asterisk, when will this end? Asterisk, but the more important question is, asterisk, what is this shaping in me? Asterisk, because every time you choose faith over fear, every time you forgive instead of hardening your heart, every time you walk in dignity when your desire has not yet been fulfilled, you are becoming more patient, more grounded, more courageous. And that becoming will outlast every delay. So many people want love to rescue them, to save them from loneliness or confusion. But you must not seek love to escape. Seek love to share what you've become. Let it find you whole, not because you have no scars, but because you know what they taught you. Let it find you not desperate for someone to make you feel alive, but already breathing deeply from your own purpose. And when the waiting grows long, and yes, it may grow long, you will have two choices, to grow bitter or to grow better. One makes you a prisoner of your pain, the other makes you a partner in your purpose. One shuts down your heart, the other enlarges it. Choose wisely. Understand this. There is no shame in the process. There is no shame in stumbling as you learn to stand. You may feel behind others. You may look around and wonder why your path has been so different. But what is being built in you is not common, and the love that will one day walk beside you must be equally uncommon. Strong enough to match your depth, brave enough to handle your fire, gentle enough to honor your soul. Overcoming does not mean you no longer feel. It means your feelings no longer control your decisions. It means you've learned how to carry the weight of your calling without collapsing under it. It means you've stopped begging life to change and started becoming the kind of person who can change their own life. This transformation is the quiet miracle of waiting. It is not just the arrival of love that is a gift. It is the strength, wisdom, and clarity that bloom in you along the way. That is what prepares you to receive love not as a remedy, but as a reward, not as rescue, but as resonance. There will come a day when you look back and realize that you did not simply survive the waiting. You transcended it, you grew in it, you became someone worthy of the very love you once thought would never arrive, and when that love comes, as it surely will, you will not meet it as someone half-formed or desperate. You will meet it as someone whole. Someone who has walked through the fire and emerged not burned, but refined. Someone who did not just wait for love, but prepared to offer it. So do not rush your becoming. Every tear, every quiet night, every moment of struggle is not in vain. They are your teachers, your builders, your evidence that overcoming is not only possible, it is already happening. You are not waiting to be loved. You are becoming love itself.